morning. It's July 29th and we're going to be doing a reading for the collective today. And if you saw my last reading, you'll know that it was pretty darn accurate. Thank you, God Source. I've already done my prayer off camera. So let's get right to it. If you're just here for current events, I like to do the energy reading first. It kind of helps me get my channel open and connect to my spirit team. So I'll put a timestamp in so that you can find the current events. But first we're going to do the energy reading. So if you're only a current event person, we'll be with you in a minute. Zip on by and we'll catch up with you soon. So yeah, like I said, it's July 29th. It is hotter than the blue blazes, as they like to say, here in the transitional South. We're not really in the South, but the culture is pretty Southern. And I've changed up my video settings a little bit because my plant that I usually have in the corner dropped her leaves. I don't know. Do any of you know what kind of plant is that? I did something wrong. This should not be a shock at all. I'm really bad with plants. It's just not my gift. My husband can grow anything. I not so much. So anyway, she dropped her leaves. So I put her outside, gave her a bunch of water, told her I really loved her and hoped she made it, but I don't know. I don't know what I did wrong. I think I have a few skills and talents in the world, not the least of which is my psychic skills, but keeping plants alive is not one of them. So I wanted to show you guys that. If you know what kind of plant that is and what I did wrong, let me know in the comments. I'm hoping she'll live, but she's looking pretty sad right now. Just like a little stick. Yeah, okay, so if you're new here, I'm Susannah. I'm a Clair-Intuitive. I get images Clair-Sentiently, or I get information from my spirit team Clair-Sentiently, which means I get the feelings. Clairvoyantly, I get like movie reels or still images in my third eye, or Claircognitively, which means words just come on through. And yeah, so let's see what happens. All right, God Source, thank you for this day. Give us a card that speaks to what the collective is going through right now, particularly the light workers that can feel the changes in the earth and feel this sense of, I don't want to say doom, but the sense of thunder. I'm getting thunder. It's like a thunder, like you hear the thunder before the lightning. That's what this moment feels to me, like an impending storm. And also a sense that whatever our shelter is might not be adequate, like a sense of, are we prepared enough? Are we ready for whatever this is? So I am pro-democracy, so I'm not a big fan of the current POTUS. I don't call them any bad names or anything, but you should probably know that if you're new here. All right, spiritually, what is going on with the collective this week? Truth and clarity. We got this last week. Let's see if I can get it to truth and clarity. Can you see that? There she is. Oh, come on. There she is. Okay, so also, even though I often get the same cards, my team has told me that's nothing to worry about because energies are in a river, and so you wouldn't expect to get a completely different river no matter what timeline you were looking into. And so but the messages are different each week. And so, God Source, what do you want to show me? And they're pulling me to the angel feather on the side. So this is right on face value. This is a card about truths being revealed. There's a veil being pulled away from the woman's eyes. And her eye, I'm really being drawn to how clear and focused her eye is. It's unwavering. And there's a sadness there. There's a sadness. I'm getting clairsentiently, like how she's feeling. There's a sadness about what she's seeing. And this angel is about crossing over. It's like my fig tree's falling off. My fig leaf's falling off. Wow. Okay. Can you see that feather there right here on the side? All right. We asked about spiritually God. So what is the message that you want us to know from these synchronicities of my plant and the feather, the sadness in the woman's eye spiritually? Okay. A lot of energy there. So what I'm getting, and this is mostly a clairsentient reading, or this card is coming, is just this sadness in our spirits as we confront as a collective and as light workers the atrocities that are happening around the world right now, and the truth of those. The fact that what has been hidden will be revealed. And we're going to feel it in our spirits. So, and they're reminding me of the exercise that you can do where you kind of place a bubble shield around your ether body, where your aura is, and kind of shield yourself and just let through the things that are entirely necessary for your highest good. It's not necessary to look at all the pictures. It's not necessary. Okay. Don't wear yourself out. All right. That was a heavy card. And that's just spiritually. So the spiritual card, the way I read them, or the way the system I've developed with my team, is that's the thing that's least impactful to us. Like least in our awareness. All right. Emotionally, God source. What is the collective, the light workers around the world? What are we going to be confronting in the next few weeks? I'm going to go through August. I'm going to be taking some time off, so this will be my last video for a little bit. So I have no idea what YouTube will do to my little tiny channel if I disappear for a few weeks. So it might be a good time to follow me and subscribe with the notification bell. I guess it's called subscribe and notify, so that you don't miss when I come back after August. If that interests you, if you like what you see here. Emotionally, God source. Emotionally. Steadfast vision. Emotionally. I'm getting chills on this. They're really drawing me to a single face in the crowd here, and it looks like Christ consciousness, Christ, Jesus, Yahweh, Yahshua, however you identify with that ascended master. What is he looking at, God source? What is he looking at in the emotional sense? And the ferocity on the face of these these two young women. So here's the picture that I see as Jesus right there. Look at these young women. Look how brave they are emotionally. This is just a simple card about protecting ourselves, using that that shield to protect ourselves and not get trampled down, to be able to keep our energetic and our emotional selves upright on our feet, they're saying, cognitively. And what is it about the face of Jesus here? That it's all being witnessed. Like, there's a phrase in the Bible they're reminding me of, that God's source knows all the hairs on your head and all the birds that fly, even the sparrow, the number of the sparrows in the sky, and all these atrocities, all these things that are happening that are so disturbing on our planet right now, in terms of wars and genocides, terrorist acts, harm to children. It is not uncounted. It is not uncounted. And so emotionally, we can count and have faith that there's a reckoning. There's a reckoning. I mean, we want a reckoning here on earth. We want a reckoning for all of this now. We don't want, it's not enough, or I guess I should speak for myself, it's not enough for me in this moment to think an individual's going to face their karma here internally, but also their reckoning when they cross over the veil with their soul team. There's a red line of behavior that there is accountability for, and that's what this is speaking to. The line has been crossed. Okay, wow. Mentally. God source, what's going on in collective mentally? Mentally, this. Christ within you, the open door. It's interesting how that kind of got dark mentally. What do you want me to see? The rainbow. The promise that it will be okay. So this is mentally. So in our mental spaces, we can remind ourselves we really are going to get through this this difficult time. And the story of the rainbow was after the flood. God sent the rainbow to make a promise that there wouldn't be another catastrophic flood like that. Now, I should let you know, I was raised in a Christian environment, and so these cards speak to me, and my vocabulary tends to be around those stories and parables, but I truly, in my direct interaction with God, all religions were created by men, actual men. I don't think they had any women. Probably, well, I shouldn't say white men, but at least the Christian religion. And not way back, not their origins of the way. They're correcting me. Anyway, I'm diverting. The story of a promise of coming through something is pretty well known to be represented by a rainbow, and our LGBTQ communities use that as their emblem. Are you trying to say something about No, it's just a promise that things are going to get better. So in our mental spaces. All right, last one, physically. Physically, this is the one that energetically, to me, always feels like you're going to trip over it. Like it's literally in your path. You're not, the others may be subtle influences, but this one, you're gonna feel this one physically. Wisdom Bringer Earth School. Gotta love these soul contract cards. So last week I got 2 cards that were related to our soul contracts. These are tough heralds. Tough heralds, because we all come here to learn lessons, and I'm just getting a lot of chills on this. This is my stomach. God, source, ease out my physical body so that I can receive this message without disturbance. And this has been really true for me these last couple of weeks. One of the reasons I'm going to take a little time off is not only is it back to school and we've got kids that I want to be fully present for, but I've been metabolizing a lot of my soul contracts, a lot of my dynamics around my birth family and the things that I came here to learn. And those are just never fun. They're worth it. They're worth it to face that. I do a lot of that work with my clients if you're interested in having a reading with me. But for this to come through in the physical spaces, this feels related to, particularly in the United States, all over these injustices of one life being more precious than the other, being valued higher. How do we care about each other? And this is a card about that for our collective. And Wisdom Bringer, let it be so. Let the wisdom come through for us, God Source. Be with all the light workers. Protect us. Help us to keep our energy stable and grounded in these difficult times. All right, well, this was a bit of a foreboding, energetic reading. Discernment, stand up, promise that we're going to get through it, and wisdom bringer. So, yeah. So I know a lot of you have Clair-Senses. I'd love to hear what you get from these cards. Did I miss anything? Did your team pop in and give you a message? Yeah, let's really listen to that. Before I move on, there's a couple of things I want to talk about before I move on to the political, because I think our current event people are kind of, just give it to me straight. I wanted to tell you guys that in doing these readings weekly, my intuitive skills are becoming much sharper. And I am starting to pick, I have always gotten my information in, I would say like another dimension, an astral dimension, like I'll realm travel, or I'll get words or feelings. It's never been on this plane. And I've started to have this sense of being watched spiritually in this plane. And that's never happened to me before. It's benign. I've checked into it, but it's like we live in the Ozark Mountains, which are beautiful wooded spaces. And particularly at the edge of the woods, I'll feel a sense of an earth tender, almost, as someone who's tending to the earth energetically. And so this is not my wheelhouse, so to speak. So this is new for me in the sense of another energetic being. It's not long. They just kind of come in and then come out, and they're sort of checking on me, but really they're checking on the earth and the vibration of the earth. And I just wonder if any of you have that sense of being aware of the things on the earth watchers, and if that is if that's normal. I'm just curious. I mean, we're not, I wouldn't say that we're particularly in a strong ley line area, but it feels like that. It feels like they're just checking in on the ley lines or the vibration of the earth, and if something needs to be adjusted subtly, that's okay. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is there are all these earthquakes happening, and from the early time I was doing my readings, there was this sense of impending, they don't want me to call it natural disasters, extreme weather events is what they want to call it. And those have certainly played out with the flooding, with all the things, but this idea that there's going to be a period of being offline with satellites or communication are one of the things I want to check on when I go to the current events. And I just wanted to add that little bit of information about my senses. And then the other thing that I want to talk to you about is if you watched my video last week, I watched it back myself, and I realized that also my normal psychic skills are getting better. So if you saw the video, it's a good one. It's a good one. I may link it behind this one since I won't have another one coming for a while. But there was this this moment where they brought through the idea of lying eyes to me, and the normally I would associate that phrase with the Eagle song, which I love, which is, I'm like a classic rock kind of Fleetwood Mac kind of playlist gal, so that's definitely on my playlist. And I would say even 6 months ago, before I started doing these videos, I would have kind of let that come into my mind and slip away, because it's just human. It's just me, the normal human. I wouldn't have taken it as being a message that I needed to stop and listen for. But I'm becoming more attuned, so that when that came in, first of all, I recognized it. That's one of the hardest things about starting to get your own messages is, oh, there it was, right? Oh, wait a minute. But I also recognize the energy as being slightly different, as being not of me, but of my spirit team. And so I went ahead and looked it up, and it wound up being a whole fascinating message that really gets to this card this week about, being gaslit and being told in the political spectrums that what we see is not what we see. Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? So after I made that video, and I've just been kind of reflecting on it, that was a real, for me as a growing spiritual conduit, they're saying, and healer, that was a moment where I went, oh wow, okay, so I'm progressing is the wrong word. I'm able to recognize a moment with my spirit team and speak to you about it. And that's all I wanted to do in pointing that out, because I want to encourage you to listen for the still small voice, as I say, the still small voice, and also the energy around it. For me, being Clair-Sentient, it'll have a really different vibration that I don't think I even recognized 6 months ago. I just kind of, it's almost like they're showing me like if you've been outside and you smell a campfire or a grill, like your neighbor's cooking down the street or whatever, and you first get that little whiff of something being cooked on a campfire or in a grill. you might not even register it. It might come and go so quickly that, or you may, oh, someone's cooking. So it's just so fleeting. And so as you're learning and you're tuning into your own clairsenses, because they are available for everyone, recognize the little change in smell psychically. The little change in feeling, the sudden visual that flashes into your mind. Not everybody gets those. That was crazy for me to realize, and especially hard is a claircog. And luckily, thank you, God Source, greater angels. I'm not clairaudient. That would make me bananas, I think. But I don't get clairaudience where you hear people talking. But yeah, it can be as subtle as a slight smell is what they want me to tell you about. All right. Anywho, all right, let's bring in our supercharged current event political people. And we got a great energetic reading, basically talking to us about preparing for some troubling news, some getting steady in ourselves and our spirits, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I am just going to text my husband to please be quiet. He just walked in and he needs to be quiet because he just coughed. Be quiet. Please be quiet. All right. So I'm going to look at, first of all, I want to look at this idea of more extreme weather events around hurricanes, around satellites. Starlink went out last week, went down like 30,000 people. We lost our internet connection. I think I read a headline that they turned it off in Ukraine. Is that right? That's what I'm just being told right now. So this idea specifically around energy grid or electric grids and satellites. God Source, can you tell us through the end of August if we're going to have, in whatever form that comes, are we going to have, because I've read on this before and the answer is always yes. So now that we're closer, and they're wanting me to quantify it, like what level of, because of course we are, of course, like, little pockets are gonna lose electricity or internet. Is there going to be a event before September that affects, let's say, a fourth of the United States, or Europe, or Australia, they're saying, or Japan? They just gave me those. Some massive communication breakdown. Let's see. They are really talking about Japan. Whoops. What a cliffhanger, huh? My camera died, so I'm back. It's actually the next day, July 30th. And as I recall, I haven't watched the tape back yet, but as I recall, I was talking about natural disasters, and I had pulled this card, the Faith card. Right, get it focused there. And then my camera died. So I have no idea how much you all got. And actually, they don't want to call them natural disasters. They always correct me. They want to say extreme weather events. And if by the time you're watching this, you'll know that overnight there was an earthquake by Russia and Japan, which they mentioned yesterday, and that it's created a tsunami that's headed towards Hawaii, or yeah. So I'm gonna say that the question that we postured to my spirit team is yes, there are going to be more extreme weather events, considering we had one overnight, and I hadn't even tried to really read this card yet. So and I think they're reminding me it was also about communication. So in terms of communication grids and things like that. So let's go ahead and finish out that. I've done my prayer again off camera, and I've been out for my spirit jog, which for me is like a meditation where I talk to my spirit team. So I have all kinds of information for you after we read on this. I am crazy psychic right now, and there's a good reason for that. We'll talk about that. Anyway, all right, let's finish out this question of communication, God source. Will our power grids, our satellites go down significantly, affecting, let's say, at least a third of the United States or Europe or Asia or Australia? That's right, they keep wanting me to talk about Australia. Australia. Okay, here we go. Holy Grail Sacred Union. And this is about our communication grids. The connection between, they're just showing me like a satellite, an old-fashioned kind of dish satellite on the ground pointed at the sky, and the connection between those. That's what this card is talking about. And they're really pulling my attention to the kind of pattern that cuts between these two. And it is broken in a couple of places, but it's not horrific. And even where it's broken, it kind of picks back up. So it's a message that you're trying to convey that yes, there will be communication, power grid issues, but that they will be temporary. I think, can you see that? Let me see if you can see the, I don't know if you can see those little swirls in the middle. Yeah, I think that is the, yes, lots of disruptions, but things will come back online. And even in the case where there's a significant disruption, like days or something like that, it feels like it won't be for very long. And this does feel weather related, more extreme weather related. So, you know, it's myself, all of the psychic community who read on these kinds of things, water, flashlights, paper maps, things that just imagine you couldn't use your phone. Just imagine that. What systems would you want in place to be comfortable for several days? And this actually they're showing me like Katrina and Florida in the hurricane season. So probably like that. So, which may not, it's probably, you don't need to be a psychic to know that, right? We're going to have storms, power's going to go out, but this feels a little more pervasive in places that maybe we wouldn't expect it. So, all right, so there you go. That's the finish up of our that part. So there's two political things that I want to look at, and they're pretty dark. One of them, at least, I'm going to look at POTUS, DJT, and his 3 children, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how I got this information. So I have been, and we got this card in the energy reading, and it says Wisdom Bringer, Earth School Soul Contracts. And I have been going through a period of time in my human life where I've been dealing with a lot of my own soul contracts that I chose to learn from when I came into this incarnation. And I remembered this morning that the side of this card says Wisdom Bringer, because what has happened to me when I have done some people call it shadow work, or when I've dealt with some of the things that are troubling in my own human wiring and patterning and experiences, it's never fun. It's always really hard work to look at something in a new way and grow from it, and to understand your own personal part in that. And how you can change it. But on the other side of those exercises, let's call them extreme exercises, for me, there's always been this kind of psychic growth. It's almost like it creates room in my spirit and in my soul and in my body for me to have more psychic connection to God's source. And that has been happening to me, particularly the last couple of days. And one of the things that, and why this matters to this reading I'm getting ready to do, is I have been seeing a few pictures, just media pictures, and instantly remote viewing into that time and space. And some people call it remote viewing. For me, it's really more of a remote feeling. I go into that time and space and I can feel the emotions and the feelings of the people that are in that picture. And trust me, you don't always want to be doing that. It's not like it's something I'm gonna have to get a little bit better control of, because right now it's happening somewhat spontaneously. But this happened with the picture of DJT and his kids, and I'll just pop it up on screen for you here, hopefully, so you can see it. And I'm going to pull it up here. This is new for me. I haven't done a reading like this really just yet, and so and so I got a ton of information about the 3 children, and particularly this image and what was happening in this image. And I noticed something I've never noticed before, which is a lot like what I do with my cards, right? I'll pull them up. Maybe I get the same card each week, but Spirit will draw my attention to something and there'll be information there. And so in this picture, what I noticed for the first time, even though I've seen it before, is, and I didn't know a lot about this picture when this happened, I immediately knew that the little girl in the back with her fingers was Ivanka. And I felt that the other child that DJT has his hand on was one of his sons, even though I didn't know at the time. I later confirmed that it is Eric that he has his hand on. And what I felt is I immediately became Eric, and I felt the push of that finger into the side of my mouth. And from this angle, it isn't obvious, but he is putting, it's like, imagine you're him, you're the kid, and an adult is standing here, and they're kind of, it's like a bridle. And what I saw was an old-fashioned horse spur that, like a cowboy would use on the soft underbelly of a horse, and that feeling of pain, anticipated pain if you don't behave, and just the cruelty of that, like the cruelty of controlling his head. And then I saw DJT grab Eric on the back of the head, right? And I know I must have had somebody do this to me as a child, because I know exactly what it feels like. And so, like a little kid, and you grab him by the back of the neck right here, and you can really steer and control him, and it's the hint of pain. But it's a power move. It's a dominance move. It has the energy of a horse and a bridle, or a spur, as I said. And so as I reflected on that, I saw then the three kids around a boardroom table. It was an office room of some situation. And the relationship between the three of them, and the fact that, and so Junior is sitting on one side, and his energy is that he's always in trouble. He's a kind of the black sheep of the three. He's the one that nobody can control, and he gets all three of them in trouble all the time. And so they're very, the other two kids are impatient with him and a little bit nervous about how he's going to act. And so in that way, he has power. His bad behavior has consequences to the other two, and it gives him a sense of power. And I would say these kids are right around the age of them in this picture, maybe a little bit older. Then Eric is sitting to Junior's left, and his energy is he's going to be the perfect kid. He's going to do everything right. He's going to win the approval of his parents, both of them. It feels very much like they are afraid of their father, but they're also very afraid of their mother. And then Ivanka is kind of off, not directly at the end of the boardroom table, but a little bit to the right. So it's interesting. Nobody's going to sit right in that boardroom table position. And she is very much the favored child, and she's smarter. It feels like she's much more canny and aware, but there's a feeling in her that it always has strings. I mean, she may be the favorite, and I'm going to show you another picture, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, but it comes with some very serious strings, and her life is not her own to control. And so, and in this situation, Eric decides he's going to carve something on the table because he's mad. And, not Eric, I'm sorry, Junior. Eric is dutifully maybe doing homework or something, and Ivanka is, I can't really tell what she's doing. She's observing, and she's listening to what's happening outside of the conference room for what's coming, for what she's tuned in. She may be a little bit tuned in to the very emotionally intelligent is what I'm getting, because she's had to read the tea leaves, so to speak. And so Junior decides he's going to carve on the table with something like a pen or something, and he thinks better of it, so he starts carving like, if this is the top of the table, there's always kind of this little face right here that holds the table, so he starts carving on that. And it seems to me he's carving something inappropriate, like a woman's genitalia or breasts, or maybe a man's, something just naughty, or maybe a cuss word, something. He's not just scratching, he's sending a message. And at some point, Eric realizes this, and he gets up and says, oh my gosh, you're going to get us all in trouble. I'm getting away from you. And he goes around to Ivanka and sits by her. She gets up and comes and sees what Junior has done. And now Junior is feeling a lot of fear because he's acted impulsively, and now they're all going to get in trouble. And so Ivanka goes and gets like a pen, and takes and fills in where he's done the scratch so it's not so noticeable. So why am I telling you all of this? I am telling you all of this because these relationships are at play now, and they are the product of DJT and his cruelty. And even though these kids, I'm not saying feel sorry for them, okay? Even though these kids were raised with gold toilets, their lives were never their own. And their money, they were never told this is your money. Like, they never had any sense of ownership in the money. It was always, you have to make your own money, or using money as a leverage or a tool in their lives. And so last week we got a card that there would be a betrayal in DJT's inner circle. And so I wonder if it's one of these two boys or another person we're going to talk about. It's someone very close, but someone who has experienced a significant wound that it may be in their soul path to stand up and act behind his back. We'll see. All right, the next picture I want to show you, and is a truly, you may not want to watch this. This is a picture of Trump with Ivanka, and the picture is very inappropriate, and it's been out in the web everywhere. But if this is going to trouble you, please feel free to not watch this now. But I have a purpose in wanting to show this to you. Okay, so here, I'm imagining I'm going to put it up here later. Okay, this is a picture. I did my best to make sure it was real, and of course nobody knows for sure, but apparently this is a picture where Ivanka and Trump were redoing a Pretty Baby type photo shoot, which is horrific. I think I know what Pretty Baby is, but I think it's about abusing children or girls. Pretty Baby movie. Yes, 1978 movie. Susan Sarandon is a hooker. 12-year-old daughter, Violet. Blah, blah, blah. She loses her innocence, blah, blah, blah. You can imagine. It's about a 12-year-old little girl who has a hooker as a mother. Or, I'm sorry, I shouldn't use that word. That's what it said, literally, in the Wikipedia thing. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, all right. Here's the reason I want to bring this picture up. Look at his hand. So there is something going on, and Spirit keeps drawing me to the hand in these pictures, and it's not all the reasons we normally talk about hands. We talk about them like, is this AI, or the size of them. This is not a gentleness. And again, I can remote view into this and feel like the bite of the fingers against her side. And so in these interactions with his children, and I suspect with every person, they're reminding me, isn't there a thing about the way he shakes hands with people? He like yanks them in and he's super aggressive about it. There's something about the way he uses his hands that's very deliberate and very telling. And I wanted to bring that up because I think it's going to be at play. in the next couple of weeks as these pictures come out. Don't be distracted by, you know, whatever is in that picture. Look at his hands. What are his hands doing? Because his hands speak. That's what my team is telling me. So I wanted to tell you that. And I mean, the remote view I got on the kids goes on and on, but it's enough. And I think that's enough for now. Now, the next picture I want to show you that I remote viewed into, or Clair-Sentience into, is this picture of Dan Bongino. All right. Hopefully it's there for you. And I was just out on my spirit jog, and I asked my team, why does his name keep coming to me? Why is he on my mind so much? I really didn't know anything about him. And I kept getting a connection with Amy Coney Barrett, which when Amy Coney Barrett, hang on, this has a lot of energy. When Amy Coney Barrett, when I have tuned into her, the message from Spirit is always about her rigidity. She is almost like a Knights Templar, and I think she's in some of those very strict Catholic orders, omnibus they're saying, or something. And you don't get into those orders without having some really rigid, almost martyr. They're just showing me like a knight going on the crusades, like going a Christian knight who thinks that his path to God and the divine is to go into the Middle East and reclaim Jerusalem, or whatever they told themselves. So this idea, this kind of warped sense of religion to justify a behavior and actions for a believed divine good. I hope you're following me. Fanaticism is the word they're giving me. They're a fanatic, or a fanaticism in the true sense of the word, about a goal or an agenda or something. And for Amy Coney Barrett, I've always gotten it's around the Catholic Church, and abortion and things of this nature are really, there's some religious tenets that she, and they're showing me those people that use those oh gosh, I don't even know what they're called. It's like chains and wires that you put on yourself to cause pain, to remind you of your, all right, what is that? Chains in Catholicism to put on leg for pain, called Cilice, C-I-L-I-C-E. No, that's not it. Corporal mortification, which involves voluntary enduring minor physical discomfort for spiritual reasons to imitate suffering. I'm not even going to say the C word in this phrase, because it's just not the way Christ consciousness works. One of the instruments uses a Cilice, C-I-L-I-C-E, a chain or strap with small spikes worn on the thigh or the waist to provide discomfort. This is such utter crap, all right? Utter crap. I'm sorry. I should say. The God, the source, the divine love that I know and have experienced, this is not the energy that I interact with. It's supposed to unite you with the sufferings. There you go. It's used by Catholic groups like Opus Dei. All right. So anyway, that was a little side thing, but that level of fanaticism, when I lean into Amy Coney Barrett and her energy, it's all about that. And so the thing about a fanatic is, and in her energy, they can act against the norm, for their greater beliefs. And that's what I get with this Dan Bongino. And I didn't know anything about him. I went and read on Wikipedia. He is Catholic. And he has the energy, as I lean into this picture, of a stalwart human who would act because he believes something was right. And they're reminding me, I think he went out on a limb about COVID and masking because he really believed that masking didn't do any good. And so he got in a big kerfunkle with his employer about the masking mandate. And set judgment of that action aside and understand that underneath that action was the same kind of fanaticism, the same kind of willingness to act for your beliefs. And so I wonder if he might be, and we may never know, one of the people that is going to be doing the leaks. So I am just going to pull some cards on him because I would like to know if he, okay, let's do him first. This person that is going to, that surfaced last week, that's going to help be a turncoat in DJT's very close orbit. And it's someone he doesn't expect. This isn't the vice president or the Project 25P. None of the people that have already, kind of let it, we know they're just waiting for their moment. They're getting everything they want. Now they're waiting until he no longer serves them. So this is someone close to him. So God Source, what can you tell us about, ooh, wow. Oh, did you see that? That one literally just flew out. Okay, well, this is a very, very apropos card. This is a card I often get. This is a card for Paul. And if ever there was a fanatic, it was Paul. He was an absolute fanatic, killing members of the early Christian church, and then lost his sight on the road to Damascus and became a convert to Christianity, and was the alleged author of a lot of the Gospels in the New Testament. So this is, I'm reading this as confirmation. I'm just being drawn to the way his eyes are looking up at the sky. He's not looking down at the ground. He is focused on a higher mission. He is focused on a higher mission. Okay, so this person that we're asking about, that's going to be involved in behind the scenes, doesn't feel like it's going to be like in your face, but they're going to be behind the scenes helping to bring it down. Okay, so specifically, let's ask about Dan Bongino. Is this person Dan Bongino? Key to life, Anka. Show this too. This is definitely his card. Goodness. This is Dan Bongino's, the energy around this is exactly what I've been trying to describe about the higher purpose, having a sense of a higher purpose, and believing yourself to be moral and good and upright and living by a code. He lives by a code. Okay. What I'm really being drawn to is the outline around the Ankh. I think I'm saying that right. The Ankh. I think it's either an Egyptian or an early Christian symbol. And I think this is a no card. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, if you see the little light around the Ankh, there's like a light. Feels like he's standing in his righteousness, his morality, but he is not really interacting with the world around him. It feels like he's going to stay a little bit in his bubble. That's what I'm getting. So I don't think it's him, although I do think he's really struggling with the moral turpitude. What in the world is that? Turpitude. If I know what that word means, turpitude. Wickedness, depravity and wickedness. Yeah. Wow. There's a word. Turpitude. Depravity and wickedness. Acts of moral turpitude. That's what we've got going on. So he's really struggling with that. And, one thing, Dr. Whimsy Anderson talks about this when she remote views. You have a lot of empathy for the people. And in my case, I can, and I think hers, I don't want to speak for her, I can feel how they feel. And it's like he is, I think, horrified. And I feel like he's not someone who shocks easily. I think he's lived a lot of life and had a lot of experiences. I feel for him. God source, put your angels with Dan Bongino. Help him to find his way through this difficult time and to serve the higher good as he's able. We can pray for these people. We can send them love and light. We can do that. All right. Let's see. So then, will this source of information be one of his children? Will the source of information be one of his children? Night's Vigil. Prepare and get ready. What do you guys get from that? I know a lot of you are Clair-Sentient yourselves. What do you get? Wow, my lighting is really bad today. I'm sorry. There we go. That's better. Prepare and get ready. I'm just realizing this literally says Night's Vigil when we were talking about like the Crusades and the energy of someone who believes so much in their path that they're going to charge in. So that's interesting. So this person, so then the question is, are one of his children of that nature? Not Junior. He would act against his father, but only if he thought he would finally get the golden ring. Like he would finally get... Okay, so they're showing me, is it Charlie Brown and Snoopy where he has the football and he runs and they pull it away all the time? That's like what he feels like his life has been. He's always been almost ready to have the thing that nobody would give him, or that the thing he feels he deserves. in this case, probably monetary success. So it would have to be, he would have to be left holding the keys to the castle, is what they're showing me. All right, how about Eric? No, Eric is too afraid. He has been damaged by the cruelty of the spur in his soft spots his whole life. And he has a strong wife. He married a very strong woman. But it's a chaotic life. Their life is really chaotic, and at his center, he's really just wants, he might be a little bit of an introvert. He just wants calm. Like he almost has an accountant's energy, like somebody who'd be really happy just with crunching the numbers and doing the work. He doesn't want to be noticed. So I don't think that they don't think it will be him. He has a lot of fear, He lives his life very afraid, which is very sad. All right, Ivanka. Oh, Ivanka. She has so many shields around her. She is well shielded. Her mother taught her how to read the tea leaves, and she knows she's very smart and superior, and she's a survivor. She has a survivor energy. It could be her, but it would not be because she was believing in something higher than herself. It would be for her to survive a situation. So I don't think it's going to be her either. This is saying that the person will have that fanaticism, like I'm saying Dan Bongino has. So let's keep our eyes open for what happens. Yeah. We'll see who it is. We'll see how it lines up. Thank you, Spirit. This was very helpful, and especially thank you for helping me navigate through the remote sentience, the astral traveling that I'm doing right now. I really appreciate that. So yeah, so I said earlier, if you missed it, I'm going to be taking off in the month of August because we have kids going back to school, and there's just a lot going on, a lot of trips, a lot of things. And so I will be back probably after Labor Day. So if you haven't and you enjoy this content and you want to see me again, it was probably a good time to subscribe and hit the notification bell or whatever you need to do to be able to find me again, because I asked my team what Google was going to do to me for being gone for almost a month, and they told me deregulated, which is like something with soccer, which I think is when, let me look that up, soccer. Oh, I need to remember turpitude. That was a strong word. Let me forget that. Turpitude. Soccer. Deregulated. If it like the Ted Lasso. Deregulated. Regulation. Yeah. Oh, I just remember in Ted Lasso where they were always afraid when they were like the worst team, they were going to be deregulated. So I have a feeling my taking some time off is not going to be great for my little YouTube channel. And I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy interacting with you all and your comments, and I'd like to be able to find you again. So, or if you want to find me again. So anyway, this is not the normal like, share, subscribe. This is just, hey, if you want to see me again, you might do that. So I'll pop back up in your feed. And they're telling, I think you need to do the notifications, whatever that means. So yeah, I hope this blesses you. I hope you're encouraged. The energy reading was all about preparing, and things coming. Just want to remind you that after a difficult season of growth, wisdom comes, and it's, for me, it's been worth it. So I hope it'll be worth it for you, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.